I have to lower this. He's a lot taller than I am. I want to introduce the CAO of the county. I don't know if you did, Gene Rousseau. And back with us again, the head of our probation department, Rick Chavez. I want to start by thanking Nathan and thanking the board of the chamber. I am a member of the chamber. I'm actually a member of a lot of chambers because I represent 9 cities and there's chambers in all those cities. So I'm very familiar with what the chamber does. I'd like to begin this morning by highlighting some significant changes and accomplishments of our board and departments, but first I want to recognize the 2 correctional officers, Juanita Davila and Toma Scanlon. Juanita is now recuperating at home, and Officer Scanlon is continuing to make progress, but he's still in the ICU. There is going to be tomorrow a fundraiser there at City Hall, and I really believe in the county and the city working together, and I appreciate the city for doing this. There's going to be a barbecue, lunch, and hamburger. There's hamburgers and hot dogs, and so I encourage everybody to go down there and show your support. And I think the county should be looking at doing something similar. I thank Eric Schmidt, who helped the Correctional Officers Association for doing one. It was very successful over there by the jail. I'm going to start by saying that, in July we passed a $2.7 billion budget. It was 2.6% higher than last year. The general fund was 1% higher. I don't want to get into the weeds on that because the county is really where the rubber meets the road for the great welfare system of the federal and state government. Our workforce now is at 7,593. That's a 99 position increase, and we're continuing to restore positions cut by the recession, and that's something that we're going to have to continue to work on. We've got some significant new hires. We hired Paul Nerlin, who was elevated to Head of Human Resources Director, and we also hired a new Public Works Director, Steve White, and especially for the non-inner city supervisors of Public Works and Head of the Public Works is an extremely important position. If you get constituent questions and problems, it always goes back to Public Works, and it's great to have some of the great people that we have working there. I want to talk a little bit about the District Attorney and Public Defender. In January of 2016, the board approved a total of 4 positions for the District Attorney and Public Administrator and Public Defender to staff the new misdemeanor drug court, which was created in response to Proposition 47. Now, if you like Proposition 47, you're going to love the hell out of Proposition 57. I think we all know about that, and I encourage everybody in Fresno County to oppose that. I know this is not really a political platform. I think we can stand only so much of this insanity that comes out of Sacramento, so we need to continue to work on that. Behavioral health received grant funding related to Senate Bill 82. It was Investment in Mental Health Wellness Act of 2013, which created an expanded crisis response system for Fresno County. It also created the County Recovery Center. The funding is being used for the Adult Crisis Treatment Facility to be built at Kings Canyon campus. Library. We have the library. One of the big things that the library is doing is planning for a new Clovis Library branch. which construction will begin in 2017 and be completed in 2018. And I want to thank everybody that has worked with the Friends of the Clovis Library, that these deals do not get done by just county money and county money from, there was actually a library tax that pays for it, but it gets done by people, the people out there that work with the Friends of the Library. In Public Works, the biggest project that's going on is widening of Mountain View Avenue between Bethel and the Tulare County line. It'll be completed in 2016. I've actually had a lot of good things said about that. In fact, they were said by cities and people in the county and Tulare County that the way Fresno Public Works approaches these projects, they actually try to get a lot of the side work done, the work underneath the roads, then they start the project, so the project goes pretty quick. I don't know if anybody's driven to Dinuba on Mountain View Avenue. Mountain View has been torn up going into Dinuba for as long as I can remember. It's been a long time. Fresno County continues to be the top producing agricultural county in the nation. Fresno County produces more than 400 commercial crops worth more than $6.6 billion. And that's all despite a lot of the water taken away from us, which I'll get into later in this speech. In 2015, 62 of the commodities exceeded $1 million. The sales of our products go to 50 states, all 50 states, and also 20,628 shipments of Fresno County grown commodities were shipped to 96 different countries. The county assessment roll has hit a new milestone exceeding $73 billion. The net assessment value of the county grew by 4.78%. An increase of $3.367 billion. Now, a lot of people are kind of confused. You know, you pay your property tax, you think that money's going to the county. The county is just the collecting agent. They're the collecting agent for the state and schools. So all that money goes to the state, and we get about a little over 13.5% back. So don't look at, we're just the tax collector, sorry. I want to talk a little bit about the clerk and elections. The department remains committed to improving customer experience by relocating the marriage license and fictitious business name unit to a refurbished lobby of the county plaza. And for the first time in 20 years, increase the capacity of the elections office. And there's actually 418,000 registered voters in Fresno County. On this ballot coming up, there are 17 state propositions, two county measures, and 20 local measures. But Clerk Brandy Orth was thrilled that she was able to get it into one ballot. So let's congratulate her. The Department of Social Services, DSS, has enjoyed a fruitful year in service to the residents of Fresno County. DSS provides assistance to approximately 400,000 county residents monthly, primarily through Medi-Cal and secondary through CalFresh food supplements this year, additionally through the Department of Child Welfare Services. So if you do the math, it's slightly less than 50% of the people in Fresno County are in some kind of assistance. That's just the facts. The Department of Child Support Services ranked 3rd in the state for cost effectiveness. That's good. I hope they don't get in trouble like the Air Board is being questioned that our costs are the lowest in the state. But we're the most efficient in the state. The pundits seem to forget about that. Looking ahead on the November ballot, I said we have two county measures on the ballot. The first one is grouped up into, it has changes to the requirement of the director Public Works. Right now, he has to be a licensed engineer and a licensed surveyor. The education system changed in the 80s, and there's very few people now that hold both certificates. And it's really important that they have the knowledge, but they're a great manager. That person has to manage a lot of people. So we need to have the ability to put the best person on the job, not about what qualifications they have. We need to move the Public Administrator's Department out of the DA's office. Yeah, I think that person must be a cheerleader for the DA. And it's actually needed because if there's a problem in that department, as it exists right now, we have to go to either the federal or state government to do the investigations. But if it's separate and the county CAO can name the administrator, it's very cut and clear. Then the DA, if there's a problem there, the DA can do that. And there was a lot of problems before this was changed. Because right now it's in the DA's office because it has to be put with an elected. Just like the coroner is with the sheriff, but that's working out very, very good. Also, it'll allow county to give preference to local business when bidding for services. It'll delete the office of constable. It's still in our charter. There's still a constable's position. And by the way, Margaret's dad was a constable. This is how far back this goes. He was actually a pretty good constable too. The other one is a separate one. It would move the probation chief to where the county can name the CAO would name the probation chief working with the judges, not the other way around, where the judges name them and supposed to work with the county. You can figure that one out. And I think everybody in this room would agree that there needs to be a change, especially what we've seen here in the last 6 months. In June of 2016, the board allotted funding for an animal control facility, the Sheriff's Area Substation 2, and the DA's building. These are works in progress. We just allocated starter money to do this, and there's still a lot of things have to be done because we have one other construction project that's huge, and it's the construction documents for the West Annex Jail project will be finalized by the end of the year with construction estimated to begin in 2017 with completion of 2019. And the reason I mention this separate is we have state help, a grant to do this, but if there's any overages in this construction, they're on us. So if there's any overages, it has to come out of our general fund to take care of it, to get to completion. I want to now talk about something that it's talked about, but people really don't understand it, but I think it will be the biggest thing that'll affect Fresno County going forward, and that's the Sustainable Ground Management Act. And before I get in there, I want to tell people that, I know when we were first getting into this was something that I knew a lot about even before I got elected. The measure passed, I think, as I was coming into office. And when I would go to meetings, I would, especially Tulare, I have a lot of contact with Tulare County, Kings County, and Madera County. And some of them were bragging about, well, we hired these water experts, and they were just so proud of their water experts. We didn't hire anybody. We had some in-house people that I think were actually better than their so-called experts. And I'm going to start off by recognizing Bernard Jimenez, the Deputy Director, and Augie Ramirez, Senior Engineer. They're both with Public Works, and they're very well respected in that field. And they're in-house people that work for us, a planner and an engineer. And I just like to give them kudos. I mean, they've done a great job. work in the quiet. Nobody knows, you know, unless you're an expert in the field or you're working with a GSA or forming a GSA, you don't know who these guys are. I'd also like to give kudos to Kings River Conservation District. There's probably not a lot of people in this room that understand what Kings River Conservation District does. They were originally started as they're a flood control group that operates the Kings River from basically Highway 145 back to Pine Flat. But their staff, they're some of the best experts in the state on the Groundwater Stabilization Act that work there, and they've been very helpful to our county, very helpful to Madera County, Kings County, and Tulare County, because they're in charge of the whole Tulare Lake area. I also want to thank Gary Serrato, Fresno Irrigation District, who worked very hard to, the Kings Basin is a very complex basin. There's going to be 5 GSAs, actually 6 GSAs formed in the one basin, and Gary was very instrumental in moving it forward. There was a facilitator involved, and he worked very hard and very diligently to work that together, because the North Kings GSA Basin encompasses the city of Fresno and Clovis, and there's numerous smaller agencies, but they did a great job of forming their GSAs. And also, I'd like to thank Senator Cannella and Senator Vidak, because 2 of the GSAs were formed under a special act that was passed, and actually I like to use the broken clock theory. You know, I don't know if you ever heard of broken clock is right twice a day. Well, Sacramento got 2 bills out of the Assembly and Senate that actually made sense. There was no opposition, and so that worked into the broken clock theory. They actually did something right. But the Groundwater Stabilization Act, a lot of people don't understand it, because I went to a meeting that the builders had. It was a very good meeting at Pardini's the other day. They had both planners from Madera and Fresno County. But everything that was said there, I mean, it was very good. They were using very good old capitalistic ideas of, you have a product, you find who needs the product, and you match them up. You know, very good. But the Groundwater Stabilization Act made that all irrelevant, because it will affect growth like you have never believed. Part of the problem with the word stabilization is we have to have surface water and have to be able to control our surface water. And the state board is starting to take away surface water from our northern neighbors. This is a bad idea. This is just socialism gone nuts. And that's something that we have to get back in control. We have to actually have the federal government come in here and protect us. And it's going to take regime change in Washington to do that. So anyway, I also, you know, part of the problem is our west side is completely dependent on surface water to stabilize. If we do not have stable surface water, we can never meet these goals. And I don't want to get into the goals, because I've described the Groundwater Stabilization Act as a very small area that people can understand. The weeds are miles around it. You can get into the weeds immediately. And I've probably already started doing that, and I've probably lost part of the audience by getting into the weeds. But it's a very complicated issue. It's an issue I know very well. And I believe I can help Fresno County go forward. But we need our surface water. We need to fix the problems in the Delta. They are critical, very critical to this area. If we had been able to get our Delta water from day one, we would still be the #1 ag county in the United States. We're #3 is because of that. That's the biggest reason. There's other reasons, but that's probably the biggest reasons. I'm gonna at the end of the year, we're gonna be saying goodbye to Supervisor Perea and Buchigian. There's gonna be a tribute slideshow that's prepared that we will see when I'm done talking here. I just want to assure everybody it was done with no net county cost. So I heard by the laughters, everybody knows county lingo. I think 2 years ago, the cost was to put on the deal when 2 left was $5,000, but I assure you we did this, and I want to thank Vicki Day and Gabriel for putting that slideshow together. They did a great job, which you'll see. In closing, I want to thank all the department heads, led by Jean Rousseau, and just by leaving you with this, government is about we, it's not about I. Although we believe a county that we can make great progress by the year, but if we want our employees, government's about anything else, about good business. In good business, you have to be loyal to the organization. And the old quote, this is not personal, this is business, has to always be taken at heart. And if we want our employees and our directors and our CAO to be loyal to the county, the governing board has to first be loyal to the county and second to their political career or anything they're going to do in politics. They have to be loyal to the county first. I just want to leave you with one thought here from F. Scott Fitzgerald. It hasn't always been easy, but I've learned so much along the way. And I truly believe that, and this is something I hold dear to me, when you quit learning, you die. It's just that simple. You start that process. So you always must learn, you always must bring in information and get it, but you always have to learn. I want to thank you, and it's been a pleasure serving as chairman of the Fresno County Board of Supervisors, and I came here today without my gavel. Thank you.